What's up? That's Sean Wright, and I'm going to go into how we create content the way we do over here at Loft Realty. So the opening question with content, especially when people jump on the Loft, is where do I start? I see that Loft puts out a lot of high quality content, from short form videos to market updates and listing videos. Where do you, as an agent with Loft, get started? And to answer that question, I have 5 points on where we can get started to go ahead and start organizing your future content lifestyle with Loft. There's 5 key points in getting started with content that you're going to want to take down so that you can go ahead and get the process started and have a little bit of a foundation as we get started. So we break down 5 points, and we'll do that for most of these subjects on how to get started with content. Number 1, your message online is about being top of mind. You're not on there to be an influencer. You're not trying to be a celebrity. What you're trying to be is the right voice for the right people at the right time. Number 2 is that message that's being put out needs to be consistent. Not just in the timing, like, hey, post at noon every day. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the consistency of the message that you're giving. Because ultimately in the social media world, we only have a few moments to give that influence. And we want to make sure that it's clear and obvious that we're there to serve them in the art of buying and selling homes in Delaware. Number 3 is get yourself set up. Imagine you have a great post. It does really well, really hits a chord with people, and you have a profile that's really lackluster. So Zillow and Realtor.com, those are obvious. We want our professional profiles looking good. But most people never take the time to get their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, whatever you got set up and optimal for the client that inevitably is going to find it. Because think about it, you put all this work in the content, you make a great video that really strikes a chord with someone, they go to your profile, and then it's lackluster. So for things like setting up your Instagram profile, you could look at people like myself, Amanda, often other people within the brokerage, or you can just simply watch this video that Amanda made on how to set up your Instagram profile in an optimal way. Number 4 is where you should post. I mentioned all those social media profiles, but quite honestly, I really want you to focus on 2. Now, when I say focus on 2, I mean I want you to focus on the style of 2 different social media platforms. For instance, the mix of content on Facebook is statuses, reels, and lives, where YouTube is more long form, YouTube shorts, and more of a subscriber-based model. Wherever your community lives at now should probably be one of those primary 2 spots, but what I want you to do is start to learn and focus in on just 2. Don't overwhelm yourself with all the different platforms out there. Take the 2 that work best for you and what you're already doing and go deep on them. And number 5 is the most common question that even I have sometimes is, what do I host? And for that, I have a notebook of different ideas. The obvious one is like trends. You can go on TikTok, Instagram, find what's doing well and do something like that. The first one that I love is showcase your showings. When you're out at a showing, take a picture of the home, say, hey, I'm at a showing. I love to walk through the home and show it off and try to do it in under 60 seconds. Show off the fact that you're showing properties, working with clients, and ultimately performing the tasks of a real estate agent. Because remember, we're just trying to remain top of mind. Number 2, a listing tour. If you want to take the opportunity to go through an entire listing and then just do a voiceover afterwards, you don't want to show your face as much and just want to show off the home, that is an awesome strategy for some quick, easy content. And then I'll just kind of rattle through these behind the scenes, do-it-yourself content, interviews with local people, local spotlights on restaurants, schools, anything like that. Getting that green screen effect going and throwing an article behind you and deep diving what that article is talking about. Linking up with Sean to get a listing video done, a market update done, or just like I'm doing now, sitting in front of a camera and batching content, which we'll get into later. And ultimately, Loft, you have a lot of people around you on this team that are killing it in the content world that you'll be able to kind of look at and engage what content style is going to work best for you. A few other quick and easy post ideas that mostly focus on stories would be something like a poll, this or that, text over anything like B-roll video and then having text over it. That's a really simple one. Amanda does a really good version of the this or that. I know those are popping up right now. And utilizing picture carousels on Instagram, not everything has to be a video. And the last Instagram question before we kind of switch gears is, should I have 2 profiles, a personal one and a business one? No, have 1 profile and destroy that one. The next one, to get a little bit more tactical, what you should be thinking when you're actually creating your content. And so I have 10 tips for beginners in the content world, and I have 8 tips for those that are a little bit more advanced already. First of all, I'm gonna say, Sean, play some of my old stuff. I want you to just see how terrible some of my old content is.
What's up, everybody? This is 2 Minute Tuesday number 28, and we are going into the real costs of buying a home. Hi, and welcome to 2 Minute Tuesday, episode number 71. That's right, for 71 weeks in a row, we have come to you with 2 minutes of advice. And today, we're going to talk about how to put in an offer on a property. Have you signed up for the office trivia night?
So that was terrible, but we all evolve and get better as we go. So what I mean to say is, if you want to get good at content, start shooting content. And to become comfortable with doing that, number one, you have to learn at the battleground. Learn about the place that you're posting. Consume some content. Learn from creators. And ultimately kind of start to watch things consciously to think, why did they shoot it that way? And how can I do it in a similar fashion? Number two, get out of your own head and thinking this content is for you. It's not. It's for the other person on the other side. The content is supposed to be of value to them. So if you find yourself posting for your own vanity, ego, stop and think, is this going to bring value to the person watching it, or am I just posting it to post it? Number three is a really common one, but start implementing your real estate content into your personal life. So many people jump into real estate and they automatically just go real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, and cut out their whole personal life. You no longer see their family. You no longer see them playing basketball on the weekend or going golf, any of that. Post about your personal life. Influence it into your real estate life, because guess what? People are following you, and you sell real estate. So it all makes sense. And you'll hear this 80-20 rule thrown around, like 80% should be personal, 20% should be real estate. I would say it's actually every post should be 80-20. 80% of it's who you are as a person with a little bit of influence here also real estate. An example of that would be like, if I'm doing a quick showing tour of a home, it's going to be fun and energetic and entertaining, but I'm also showing a house. Number four is the millennial pause. This is a huge beginner mistake, and please don't do it. I'm about to give it as an example. See if you catch it. Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and get... And first of all, never say, hey guys. I hate that opening line anyway. But did you notice there was that pause at the beginning where I didn't start talking? Trim that shit. No one likes it. And we're in a short form world where videos are only 15, 20, 30 seconds long. Imagine if you were watching a 10-minute video and for 45 seconds, someone just sat there going like this. That's a really long time. And in the short form world, that second and a half kind of feels the same. Number five goes into what we mentioned a little bit earlier about studying the environment. Find some role models to R&D, rip off and duplicate. Number six, get your reps in. I could not imagine if I walked into a gym with somebody and they had never touched a basketball in their life. Now I like basketball, but what if this person never shot a ball ever? And they'd walk in and they shoot 3 shots. All 3 miss, 1 barely hit the backboard. And then they look at me and say, Zach, I don't think it's going to be for me. And they walk out. No one would ever look at that person and think they're logical. You've never shot a ball and you don't make one in your first few shots? Of course not. So why are you mad when your first video doesn't go viral? You have to put in the reps. You have to create content to get good at creating content. And honestly, content well made is the best way to access and grow a community, especially as a real estate agent. Number 7, smile. Now, you may think you're smiling, and you may watch this video and find out I wasn't smiling as much as I needed to. It's actually one of my biggest weaknesses is sometimes I don't smile. But when you're on camera, you need to over-smile. Because, for example, right now, I'm not frowning. But if you're looking at this video, you're like, damn, he looks pretty mad. If I'm going like this, I feel like I look like I'm silly. But on camera, it kind of just looks like I'm just a normal, happy guy. So be sure to consciously think, someone last behind camera to smile, because he's had to tell me that for 4 years. Number 9, tell your story. You have one. You're unique. What got you into this business? Why are you passionate about it? Please be real. Bring out the emotion. Bring out the legitimacy so people really feel like they want to follow along and be bought into the story of you growing in your real estate career. Number 10 is grow your assets. Now, I said only focus on 2 social media platforms, and let's consider those your assets. You may be like, Zach, they're worth nothing right now. And maybe that's true, but quite honestly, it's probably not. What is true, though, is the more you invest into these platforms, the more you invest time and effort into your community, your content, and your growth, the more those assets will grow. No investment looks great at the beginning. It has to grow over time, and I promise, you put the reps in, you're going to see the results. Just like the gym, just like with education and studying, and just like with content, reps are key to growth. All right, moving on from there, let's get into 8 tips that maybe are on more the intermediate or expert level side. Not to say if you haven't gotten into content yet, you should listen to these, but these could be some things maybe you didn't even think of as a content creator already. Number 1, I'm going to reiterate, pick 2 but redistribute to the rest. So let's say you're already killing it on Facebook and Instagram. You need to be able to take that reel on Instagram and now redistribute it to TikTok, Facebook Reels, Snapchat Spotlight, Pinterest. You could put it anywhere. Pick some places where you can redistribute the same content. You don't have to make specific content for every single platform. You simply have to make content that's relevant to the platform. And thankfully, most content can work on a few different platforms in some creative ways. Number 2, bash your content. Got this beautiful man behind the camera named Sean. I'm gonna go ahead and put the QR code up here. Because if you hadn't booked time to shoot with Sean, you need to. You may be watching this like, I haven't met Sean. Great, you need to. You need to get your intro video shot. But Sean is the key to you being able to batch content. And batching simply means you sit in front of a camera, you have 6 to 7 ideas, 6 to 7 topics, it could be 10, it could be 2, and you make multiple pieces at the same time. This keeps you in the same energy level, this keeps you in the same mindset, and it helps you build some momentum so in that 3rd and 4th video, you start to get a rhythm. Don't just try to create a one-off video every single day. It's going to become too much. It's going to be a lot of pressure to keep creating. And ultimately, just having that vault of content in your pocket is really helpful. It takes a little bit of pressure off. So honestly, there's a whole other video on pre-shooting with Sean and how his editing style looks. But I do want you to know for things like CapCut or InShot, which are 2 great in-phone apps that you can use for your own video editing, on how to do things like jump cuts, trims, and just basically cutting out the fat. This goes back to the millennial pause. Make sure there's no gaps in your content, no long pauses, no big ums or uhs. Cut those out. And if you're using CapCut or TikTok's in-app editor, which is CapCut, you're going to be able to cut and trim very easily and make your videos fly through without having any real gaps or lulls where that consumer could stop watching the video. Do it at the beginning, do it at the end, do it in the middle, just make sure your content flows. Number 3, this is what I picked up later on in my content life, is talk to one person. Don't say, hey guys, don't say, hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, you. You're talking to one person. The person who's watching this video on their phone is not sitting with a group of 8 people behind them like, look at this realtor. They're watching it by themselves in a chair, in a t-shirt, just watching. It's just them. Talk like it's a one-to-one conversation. You're going to have a higher engagement rate, and the person's going to feel like it's a little bit more for them, which is going to help in that top-of-mind aspect we talked about. Number 5, though, on the expert level side is what I call conscious consumption. Conscious consumption is exactly what it sounds like if you break down the 2 words. Being in the moment and aware of what you're watching on that platform. Whether it's a commercial, content, an ad, watch it and think, what's bringing my attention to this video? Why have I sat here for 45 seconds watching this guy or girl? What drew me into this 2-minute video, and why am I still here? Consciously think these things, and you'll start to pick up on the little nuances that are having that creator keep and draw your attention. Number 6, and this is a Hollywood tip, remain eye level. If you see this video right here, you'll actually see the camera is right up to my eye level. This is a psychological factor that can help someone feel more comfortable, because this is how they have normal day-to-day conversations. They don't have conversations where they're like this, and they don't have conversations from down here. That'd be weird. What we have are conversations where we make eye contact at eye level, so try to make your videos fit a similar style. Number 7, especially for short form, actually only for short form, quick captions. This is a recent one that I've come upon, and it's helped a ton of people that I've given this tip to, is when you have captions on TikTok or Instagram, make them quick, bite-sized. Don't have 2 lines worth of caption, break it down to 2 or 3 words. It keeps the captions moving, it keeps the movement in the video, and that is an aspect of what's called layering, which can keep the brain engaged in different ways as the video goes that isn't necessarily driven on you keeping their attention. And then 8, leverage Loft. Between the creators we already have on this team, the agents who are creating content, getting business from it, and driving clients from it, you can ask them questions, get their tips. From Sean and being able to short form content, shoot a listing video with them. Did you know there's even a section where you can schedule a brainstorm session with him? We have so much set up between documents and checklists and back-end virtual assistants to make sure that distribution, editing, and production of your content is top tier and seamless. And if you're not taking advantage of that, you're silly. And that wraps up the 8 expert level tips. I want to finish on the last point, which is how I typically format my videos, the mindset I use, or kind of a framework, and I've called it THIRST. Now, the THIRST method actually stands for 6 words, which are title, hook, interest, reframe, storytell, and target. The first 3, title, hook, and interest, really focus around who's the content for and how we get their attention. The R and the S, the reframing the story and then ultimately telling the story, are really about being natural, using your hands, talking like you talk in real life, smiling, using pauses, changing your pitch, your cadence, talking like you talk in real life. Sean will be the first person to say there's nothing worse than someone who gets in front of the camera and is like, hello, they hate that. It's uneditable and no one's gonna watch it. You gotta be real, because guess what? When you show up to the showing, you show up to the listing appointment, you come to your open house, you're you. So stop trying to be fake on camera. Be legit, and people will be like, this person's just like they are on. And then target. What's the call to action in the video? What's the purpose of it? How's this bringing value to the audience? A title would be like the caption, the on-screen caption that says what this video is about. That's the drawing in headline. Think about the headline on a newspaper. What's going to get you to pick it up? Hook, that's the first 2 or 3 seconds. What are you saying, doing, showing, what's going on in the music that's going to make someone think, I gotta watch the rest of this. Once you've gotten that person's attention, what's going to keep their interest? Do you have something of interest to offer on that hook? Or is it just going to be an empty video? Because if you have a great hook without any interesting content, it's called clickbait, and people don't like that. Or we have our hook, and now it's time to reframe. Imagine you say, I had the most amazing experience this weekend with a seller, and I want to tell you how they saved 20 grand on their new home purchase. Well, I met my client. Well, that's an example of reframing. I had a hook, I had a title, and then boom, I brought the story back to the beginning. So I had my client say blah, 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 and now I'm going to bring them through via storytelling. So if that doesn't make sense, let me slow it down. So the first 2 or 3 seconds, your hook, you're getting their attention. After that, we need to break it down in a form that's going to allow them to stick around to get to the end of it, to the point. You got them hooked on how could a seller or a buyer, get $20,000 extra deal. Well, you want to wait 20, 30 seconds to get to the real meat and potatoes of how that happened and storytell your way to that point. As Sean just said, it's a rising action. Don't just give it away. Don't put it in the caption. Don't put it in the title. Don't say it the first 4 seconds. You're not supposed to be gatekeeping, but the best content creators keep what's called a curiosity gap, something that's going to keep you listening the whole time. Could be multiple, could be one, but something that's going to make them think, I can't quite swipe. I got to watch the rest of this. And then storytelling can be either the best part or the worst part of your content if you don't practice it, if you are not consciously thinking, how should the story lay out? And if you don't think you're storytelling, you're wrong. Every piece of content you make, every listing appointment you go on, every time you're talking to a lead, you're in the art of storytelling. Whether you're helping them write their own story in the form of buying or selling a home, or you're selling them on yours and getting them to actually eventually work with you, you're selling the emotional journey or the storyline of being able to work with you, and your content should match a similar theme. And target, like I said, is what's the purpose of the video? Why is this for them? Should they follow you? Should they comment? Is there a link they need to go to? Is there an application to fill out? Is there a link to schedule time with you? This is an important part because you need them to know what the next steps are if there are any for this content. And that's how we break down the thirst method. And those are all of the tips, all of the tricks that I personally and the teams learned over the past 5-6 years of content creation. Rewatch this video, take down notes, break out your own camera and start putting in reps. It doesn't have to go to anybody. It's like writing a letter that you end up throwing away. Put up the camera, start talking to it, start dissecting. What are you good at? What are you not so good at? Taking down the notes. All you have to do is improve a little bit every single time. You don't have to become a master overnight. You're not gonna become one overnight. So get that out of your head. 1% better every single time. Always find one little thing you can improve. And if you're ready to go ahead and schedule some time with Sean, I'm gonna put the link here to schedule, and I'm also gonna suggest you watch this video where we break down the specifics of sitting in front of this camera and things you should do, shouldn't do, and what should be going on through your head, because the pressure's on when the lights are on and the recording starts. All right, then Sean says we're done, so I'm gonna go ahead and disappear.